Winston Churchill famously said, "You can always count on Americans to do the right thing, after they've tried everything else." What are some good examples that prove or disprove this quote's accuracy? From WW2 itself. After Britain had spent quite some time learning through costly trial and error the methods of escorting merchant ships through U-boat-infested waters, the U.S. Naval Command, particularly one stubborn admiral whose name I can't recall, proceeded to ignore all their advice for weeks to months. Hundreds of tons of merchant shipping from the U.S. were sunk due to insufficient escorts and convoy formations. WW2 stubborn admiral. 99.9% chance it's Admiral King. He did hate the British, but he hated everything to the point he might be related to Doom Guy. It was 100% King. I always find it fascinating that at some point fashion shifted, and it's almost always the man without medals and decorations who has the highest rank. That all these highly decorated military chiefs answer to some civilian in plain clothes. Florida man stories can prove and disprove this. Florida man achieves full enlightenment. Florida is the only state where you can wake up, play a round of golf, go to a Baptist church, grab lunch at a Wendy's, visit your Scientology center, feed an alligator, go to the beach, pet a manatee, get your sketchy stem cell injections for your college shoulder injury, and finish the night with salsa dancing and a Cuban sandwich. Maybe the Florida man isn't crazy. He's just opened his third eye. Not a third eye, but a third forearm to inject more drugs into. Not a great example, but another great quote by Otto von Bismarck: "God has a special providence for fools, drunkards, and the United States of America, and ships called Enterprise." This applies to Star Trek and the real Enterprise. Barring the original Enterprise blowing up over Genesis, Enterprise C getting shot to pieces by the Romulans at Narendra 3, and Enterprise D having a war core breach destroy the star drive section and the saucer section, crash landing on Viridian 3 after being attacked by the Duras sisters. Not to mention the Enterprise E getting partially assimilated by the Borg, as well as colliding with the Scimitar. Why does this sound like someone's homework assignment? Edit. Would love to see one of those YouTube channels make a video about this thread with a robot voice and the incredibly long answers. You can always count on students to do their own work after they've tried everything else. Just give it some time. Op is in the process of trying all the wrong things first before realizing that he should be doing his own homework assignment himself. I just don't understand what class this could be for without a time period. Imagine handing in the comment with the most karma and get a 0 for covering the wrong time period. The Voting Rights Act. Civil rights too. We tried slavery first, but it didn't go over very well. Edit. Just to clear some things up. I know that the U.S. benefited greatly from slavery's terms of quantitative data, and I also know that the U.S. was not the first or last country to have slaves. What I meant by my comment was that chronologically, the U.S.'s first interaction with black people was as slaves, and saying as slavery was the core cause of the war that produced the most American casualties in our history. It's pretty safe to say it didn't go over very well. What are you talking about? It was crazy popular. The slave owners loved it. There is nothing more odd than teaching American history to non-American students. Tuesday, Declaration of Independence. All men are created equal. Wednesday, slavery. All men are created equal. After that it's all up for grabs. Some are more equal than others. Orwell welcomes you to Animal Farm. Reminds me of this story. Not sure if it's true or not, where this American soldier is returning from a war and can't find a seat. Eventually they find a seat being occupied by a woman's dog. He asks her to move the dog and she refuses multiple times. So he throws the dog out of the window. Then this British guy turns around and says, "You Americans get everything wrong. You use a fork with the wrong hand. You drive on the wrong side of the road and now you've gone and thrown the wrong B** out of the window. God, that is funny. Wait, which side is an American fork held? The wrong one, apparently. TBF, it probably applied just as much to him as it did to Americans. Well, he was 50% American himself. Really? His mom disproved Native American policy, proved eventually saying fuck it and going to war to end slavery. Actually, I disagree on the Civil War part. I'm not saying the war wasn't about slavery, but it was about slavery since the southern states seceded because of slavery. The Union did not invade the South to stop slavery. They invaded to keep the South from seceding, which they did because of slavery. Total agreement on the Native American part though. That was the first thing I thought of when I read the question. Fair. It was definitely the result of a lot of attempts to solve slavery peacefully would have been a better way to phrase it. Just a couple of months ago, the wife of an American diplomat killed a 19-year-old biker in the UK, and then ran for the hills. She has to answer for what she did. Killed a 19-year-old. Told the police she wouldn't leave the country so she didn't get detained. And then immediately left anyway. Who would have thought that a diplomat's wife was untrustworthy? Bear in mind that when this happened to a U.S. citizen, the country in question, I think Georgia, waived their diplomat's immunity, and he was sentenced to 10 years in prison in the U.S. But when the shoe is on the other foot, they don't have to play by the established rules. Disprove? M1 Garand. It wasn't the best infantry rifle we could have picked, but it was good enough and we could mass-produce it enough. We were fully equipped with a main battle rifle 10 years ahead of everyone else in WW2. We didn't side with Germany in World War I. Edit. Let's all stop fighting over this. I have my own opinions and you have yours. Many Irish and Germans American wanted America to side with Germany in WWI. Germany was the second most popular language in America until it was oppressed in the mid-1930s. I'm an Irish-German American. Du hast recht. Du hast mich. Probably yet another thing Churchill never said. It's quite easy to make a Churchill quote. All you have to do is say something sassy in the right way. Winston Churchill. Have you ever slipped a finger in your ass whilst having a wank? I assure you normal wanks will never be the same again. Winston Churchill. Americans like me sometimes accidentally do the right thing, so ha.
Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox.